For all of our Redditeers that are coming on and joining us, this is going to be our first episode of relationship advice. And Khalil here actually got a really cool, aka leak, got a really cool little article, and it looks like Reddit took it down. And so, a quick background because we just actually like jogged each other's memory because we had a bunch of technical difficulties before we started doing this. um, so you got this guy. He's 18 years old, and he's going over to his girlfriend's house around like 9:30, and she's out with her sister, and they're out quote unquote playing maybe pool or doing something, hanging out, drinking, having fun. And she's like, "I'll be there in like a half hour," and then she's like, "I'm gonna finish this last game of pool, maybe be an hour." And then she's like, another hour goes by, I can't find a taxi, and then some more hours go by, and like so he's there at like 9:30 to Netflix and chill because he works hard. He wants to hang out with his girlfriend, and she is out with her sister. And now it's 2:30 in the morning, and she rolls in drunk. Right? He's there, and right here we see like he's hanging at her house. There's no Wi-Fi. He's bored. He's a young kid. He's 18. He's like, I just wanted to hang out with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So she shows up and she wants to drunk talk and explain what happened and why she's there so late. And he's like, I don't want to talk right now. I just want to go to sleep. He goes, I pushed her off as I needed to get some sleep after a long day and didn't want to discuss it when she was drunk. Now that makes sense, right?
Fair
She
enough.
said, I might as well go if I didn't want to talk. And so I left. I was angry and I just wanted to be near her. She then texted me when I got home at 3 a.m. That she was annoyed at me for leaving and we're done. She told me to delete all of our pictures and chats and that she had done the same. Haven't
Very
talked to
dramatic.
her since, right? Like that's super dramatic, right? Now they're
So
18
dramatic.
years old. All right, so now
Yeah.
our Redditeers are all caught up, right? So this is not going to be a competition today. This is just going to be a discussion of what happened here, man. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, like I was telling you before, like this is something that I've been through. Uh, well, in a similar situation, where they're breaking up with you for a very stupid reason and something that could have easily been avoided. And to me, it sounds like it's a game. It's a game to her. She's young. She doesn't know how to manage her feelings. And she impulsively breaks up with him and tells him to delete all the pictures, delete the chats, delete everything. You never met me, you don't know me anymore. Go away, basically, which is extremely dramatic and it's it's very childish, really. Like that's something that they could have talked out easily, and it could have it could have just been something that they could have learned from, really. It didn't seem like she wanted to learn from the situation. It doesn't seem like she wanted to even take accountability for her actions. Um, in my the way I look at it is like it was very reasonable for him to say, "Hey, I don't want to talk about this right now. Let's talk about it in the morning when you're not drunk. Um, I've been up all night waiting for you, and now here you are 4 or 5 hours later, and you want to talk about things, and I'm ready to go to sleep. That's not fair to him. So it's very fair for him to say, hey, let's talk about it in the morning when you're not drunk, and we're in a better headspace." And she obviously just that was unacceptable to her. She needed to talk about it now. She needed to, you know, have that conflict. And and then when he didn't want to have the conflict, she kicked him out. Like basically said, like, hey, like, well, if you don't want to talk about things, you should just leave. Yeah, oh my god, that's just so you kick him out and then you break up with him for him leaving, and then you say, you know, delete all my stuff, delete everything, you don't know me anymore, kind of thing. And that's just so dramatic. That's so childish.
Yeah,
He dodged the bullet. That's what I think.
and a lot of people and I wish they didn't delete this one because I mean maybe they deleted it. I don't know why they deleted it. I didn't read the rules of particular this one, but it was relationship advice. She's like, did I do the right
Yeah.
thing? And honestly, you know what? Um, I think he did right. Like he didn't. He was angry. He was upset. He removed himself from the situation. It was a volatile situation. She's drunk. things are going to be said. He's only sober one in the room, and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go home. You're like, hey, either I'm going to deal with this right now while you're drunk, or I need to go home. So hey, probably the best thing for me to do is to go home. And they don't live together. They who knows how long they've been in a relationship, but they're 18 years old. So even if it was a quote unquote long relationship, you're talking high school, right? So maybe 3-4 years,
Yeah.
and they're just young. I think he actually handled himself fairly maturely. If everything he wrote is the way it exactly happened, he's like he said, I admit that I was angry, but I think he has kind of a leg to stand on that one, right? I'd be pretty upset too.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess maybe a lot of it also goes into trust and everything like that. Like I'm in a relationship, obviously I'm married, but before we were married, if she's like, "Hey, I'm going to be out with my friends and I'll be home around 10," and she messages me and she's like, "Hey, you know what? We're having fun. It's going to be a little bit longer," and then so forth and so forth, and I'm just hanging out at her house. I might be a little upset, but I would
4 to 5 hours later, that's absurd.
right? Well, I think I would end up doing something. Well, and that's the thing, right? Like she should have been like, "Hey, this is going to be a lot longer. Maybe you don't just go to sleep or head home.
Yeah.
I apologize and blah blah blah." None of that seemed to happen. None of that really seemed to happen.
Yeah.
And I just want to point one more thing out for our Redditors, our viewers here who are tuning in either our podcast at Spotify or YouTube channel or however you seem to be streaming or listening today. That for those that you can't see, Khalil, do you see this gigantic pink fluffy thing behind me?
I do.
Let me move my head.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, I'm
Pom pom?
totally in my daughter's room.
Nice.
I am podcasting out of my daughter's room because we had to do this last minute setup, and I didn't get to
Yeah.
it. But yeah, just wanted to be like, oh god, I gotta say something about this, so people are gonna be like, what is that fluffy, feathery thing he's got behind his head? So, anyways, that was a segue. But I just feel like he was in the wrong. I don't. I just really, really don't.
Not at all.
We've had long enough for our viewers to read the whole caption of the thing that's on the bottom here, the Reddit relationship advice, and so you've been able to read it. And hopefully, you guys can comment below and let us know what you think. But I just, you know what, some people are like, oh, you dodged a bullet, blah blah blah. I think she was pretty. I'd like to know, did they make up? But unfortunately, we're not going to ever know that. But if
You
they
never
didn't
know. We
actually,
might get an update.
yeah, right. I don't know.
And,
They
and
deleted
I,
the post, so how are we going to get the
uh,
update?
yeah, I'm not really sure about that. That's a good question.
I
But I mean,
did. I
as
did link it.
as far as advice, what advice would you give this guy in this situation going forward? Um,
Well, okay. So if you're in this situation currently, like it's happening right now and is unfolding in front of you, as a guy, take a step back and just take a breather and kind of look at the totality, what's going on in front of you. Because if this is somebody that's really important to you, there might be other underlying things that happened that night. We just don't know. Allow the time to communicate when you're both sober. He is, I would say, head up high, man, because she broke up with him drunk. Like she drunk texted him, "We're done."
Very
And
spontaneous.
I feel like there might have been. Is it spontaneous or was she planning to break up with him anyways? Right? I just kind of
I
feel
mean,
like there was a lot happened there for it to be that spontaneous. Like I've
yeah,
pissed my wife off when we were dating. I pissed her off so bad, and she's like, "We're talking about this," and we did. You
yeah.
you end up, if you're in a real relationship and you really care about each other, you're going to talk it out. You're going to end up talking. If it's not, if
I
you can't
agree.
talk it out, it's not the right relationship.
I agree. Here's my thing on the whole thing is yeah, talking is key, but the issue is that she broke up with him before even trying to have that talk, before even trying to do that. That to me, that's you're not really respecting the relationship at all. Like how
No.
many times is she going to do this? How many times is she going to get mad over every little thing and then break up with me or break up with that person and delete all the information? That's ridiculous. That's it's a
No,
game.
it is.
It's not a game. She's treating the relationship as a game. It doesn't seem like she even respected his time in general. Like he was sitting there
Yep.
waiting the whole time. Doesn't respect him. Doesn't respect his time and effort that he's putting into the relationship. And she can go out and do whatever she wants and act like there's no consequences. And that was
Yep.
the thing. Like it doesn't necessarily even seem like he was all that upset. They could have easily gotten through this. Just let's just talk about it in the morning. Um,
Yeah. No, I agree. I
yeah,
agree. And that's what makes me feel like this is premeditated. Like she's hanging out
yeah,
with her sister. Her sister's like, "Ah, you should break up with this guy," and she's probably like, "Yeah, I'm
possibly.
just not really feeling it, whatever." And then the sister's like, "Oh yeah, don't go home. Just f that guy. He's just sitting there. Let's have fun."
Yeah,
And
fair
you
enough.
never know what kind of advice that she got from her sister or what was going on. But at least they were, they were partying, so she was kind of
Right.
enabling and contributing to the delinquency that's kind of
I could
happening in
only
the relationship.
imagine, what are you doing for 4 to 5 hours? Yeah,
Nothing
I can
good.
see maybe
Nothing good.
asking for a taxi and looking for yeah, nothing good at all. Like, yeah, you might be
Nothing good.
waiting for a taxi, but you have to be she's most likely around a bunch of guys hitting on her, having that conversation, and even if you don't go home with that person that you're talking to or whatever that you meet, at the bar or whatever, but just the fact that you're entertaining it and have
Yep.
your boyfriend waiting at home, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. No,
No, I agree. I agree.
I think he definitely dodged a bullet on this one. It seems like she wanted out of the relationship and was looking for any and every reason to break up. So
Yep. Well, I
yeah,
no, I completely agree. I think we're right on the same page on that. I think maybe he dodged a bullet. Let us know what you guys think. And speaking of dodging bullets, I better go ahead and call it a night as we started late, and I don't want to have something similar happen here. Um,
all right,
but no, man, I appreciate your time, brother. I agree with you. I know wanted to go a little bit more dive deep and kind of like what happened to you in your personal life, but I guess that's going to be the next episode. So,
and you live and
um,
you learn, and you gain perspective, and hopefully this guy gains perspective from all of this and doesn't let something like this happen to him ever again.
well, he's 18
Have
years old,
boundaries and
man. Like
such. Yeah.
you're gonna have plenty of relationships. There's plenty of times, And I look back, I'm saying like, I feel like the old man giving the young kid advice right now. Now I'm in my 40s and I'm listening to this about an 18-year-old, and I was like, man, I remember when I was 18, I thought that was the world, that was the life, you know. And then when you're later in life, you're like, wow, I was really freaking stupid. I wasted that much time. That was stupid. So,
Yeah.
you live, you learn, and as you get older, things will get better. But um, I think that her hand was shown, and good for him for walking away with his head up high.
Agreed.
All right. So you, Mister Reddit, that wanted some advice on this, man. Just keep your head up high. There'll be other people. She doesn't sound like she's the
That's right.
right one. Um, you win, you lose, you live. Left foot, right foot. You get up. You keep on walking. There's other people, more fish in the sea. Blah 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 blah. She's just she wasn't ready for whatever the relationship was that you were looking for. Just
Yeah, they're
different
still
spaces,
young.
different
Yeah,
times. Yeah,
they got
different
time
times,
to.
right? He
Yeah,
kind of seemed like more of an old soul, right? Because he's like super old
yeah,
in what he's saying. He's like me. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go rest. I'm gonna veg. I'm gonna hang out. I don't really want to go out right now. So I just maybe, and she's like partying and stuff. So maybe just different
yep,
times in their lives, right?
yeah.
Even though they're both 18, he's just more
Hmm.
like, okay, I go to
More
work. I gotta
mature.
work hard.
Seems like yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. So, all right, brother. Well, hey, we'll do this again next week. Let's find a
All
good one.
right, all right. Let's call
All
it.
right, man.